Or just happy to say, all right, this is my Q&A.
My first one was Icon 26 back in 2007.
The first convention I went to wasn't necessarily a convention. I was invited. I had a friend, he used to work for a magazine. He got invited to E3, so he was able to pull some strings, have a +1. I was able to go, so that was technically my first convention environment.
My first convention was Icon 23 in 2004. The Sci-Fi Fantasy Club in Nassau Community, where I met half of these idiots.
That would be Icon right here on Long Island. It's a small sci-fi, well, not really small, it was actually fairly large. I'd say about 10,000, 15,000 people.
The first convention that I ever went to, I think actually was New York Anime Fest back in 2009.
New York Comic Con 2008. I threw together a really horrible Axel cosplay, and I walked around and I got to meet Steven from Steven's Untitled Rock Show from Fuse, from those of you who remember him. I got interviewed by him.
What was your first job?
Computer lab consultant.
McDonald's.
Well, technically babysitting, but after that it would be cantering at my parish. I am the person who stands in the front and leads everyone in song.
I worked for data entry at, it's one of those help me I fall and I can't get up button necklaces things. I worked for one of those companies. I did data entry, and then I also did service calls and errand girl.
I worked on the Nautical Mile in Freeport.
Oh, okay.
I worked at the little boutique shops down there, and it was wonderful.
My first job was a party entertainer. Before I actually knew cosplaying was a thing, I actually did dress up in characters. I dressed up as Pikachu, I've done Blue from Blue's Clues, I've been Batman, I've been Mickey Mouse, I've been Ernie, I've been Woody and Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story.
My first job, I worked at a summer camp at my local elementary school where I took care of kindergartners and helped them do arts and crafts and stuff.
My first job? Oh man, we're going into super stereotype town right now. I used to sell fruit with a couple of my friends in California.
Well, I guess it started with, I made friends with Pirate Chris back in college, and we went to Icon together, and a couple of years in, he brought his friend Ernie, who he'd gone to high school with, and was basically going to school for journalism, videography, and all that, and he made a documentary for his first time going to the convention. And then he went with us to Otakon a couple years later, and he made like a top 10 tips guide for Otakon, and it kind of did so well. The next step was, oh, let's start covering cons, because not everyone can always go to cons. And then it started off as a show part of his organization, and then it got so big that it just branched off and became practically its own entity.
So if you liked our shenanigans and tomfoolery, leave a like or a comment down below. Or even better, if any questions, if you want to ask us what shampoo we use, or how does Ernie stay so fly while everybody does it, definitely let us know. It could be anything, just as long as it's PG. Otherwise, definitely, if you like what we have, go ahead and subscribe to us. We also have our Facebook at facebook.com/FadsPOV, Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, Tumblr, Tinder, all that stuff. So definitely check out Tinder, I'm joking. But definitely follow us, and we'll see you next time.